This is a group of Dionne Warwick fans up in here, I see. I need to put a bass back in my own voice because I'm backstage weeping. Like it's Dionne. It's Miss Dionne. I brought my handkerchief. I'm prepared for anything. Dionne Warwick, we saw this lovely program that outlined your many, many accomplishments. But something that we all have in common in this room is that we were all once, we're very powerful black women now. We're out here doing our things. But at some point, we were all little black girls.
Yeah.
And I think about you, I've read about you, listened to you, all these things. And I remember one time, let me get it straight, what you said about your neighborhood. I believe it was on Sterling Street.
That's right.
Okay, in Newark, and you said,
no.
Did you love it?
Sterling Street in East Orange.
Oh, let me.
That's okay. No problem.
Have I just been fact-checked by Dionne Warwick? Because I think I have been. Okay, so listen. So you said Sterling Street was like living within the United Nations. Every race, creed, and color lived on that street. We rode bicycles, we skated, we played all the ball games that you could play. Can you take us back there?
Oh, absolutely. It was a joyous. I had a wonderful childhood, wonderful. And Sterling Street virtually was the United Nations. As you iterated, every race, color, creed, and religion lived on that street. We played together. We went to school together. There were nights that we had sleepovers together. I would go to their homes and have dinner or luncheon, and they would come to my mom's house and put their feet on her table. So it was just a wonderful, wonderful period of time for me.
I can only imagine. And then you're in the gospel groups with your family, with your mom, and then with your sister. But I know we all know that moment where we're making a decision, like, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? How am I going to become who I'm going to become? So my question for you, Ms. Dionne, is this. Was it a conscious decision? Did you say to yourself, well, I've been a gospel singer, but now I want to become?
No, it didn't happen that way at all. As a matter of fact, I didn't choose this industry or what I have become. It chose me.
Okay.
You know, I did a lot of background work and demonstration records in the city, all during the period of time that I was in college. And I would come down to the city from Hartford, Connecticut, Hart College of Music, and do demos or those oohs, ahs, and yeah-yeahs that you hear behind all those wonderful recording artists during that period of time. No, this was the last thing I ever thought about doing. I was going to teach.
What were you going to teach?
Music education.
You were going to teach music education.
We got some educators up there?
I was about to say, I think she has educated us all quite musically over her career. I feel like also when we talk about Dionne Warwick's career, we always talk about, it's always, so often it's Dionne Warwick and Hal David and Burt Bacharach and all those great early hits that Dionne Warwick had. But I don't know how many of you in the audience remember a little song called Then Came You? Okay, with Dionne Warwick and the Spinners, Bobby Smith of the Spinners. And what people may not realize is, please don't let me get fact-checked again by Miss Warwick, but, and in front of all of you all, she had all those hits with Burt Bacharach and Hal David, and Then Came You was your first number one single. Yes.
You're right.
I got that one.
You're right.
I got that one.
The very first number one record.
Okay, so talk to me about that record, because to me, I have an intimate relationship with music, but that song is ecstasy. It's like joy. Like, what were you all doing in the studio? What was going down?
You know,
It's just a question. It's just a
you
question.
really want to know?
Oh, I do.
The Spinners and I had done a summer tour together. We did
Okay.
all of the summer theaters. And I was going into Las Vegas at the Riviera Hotel at the time after that tour was finished. And I asked them if they would like to come and be my opening act for me.
Okay.
Because they'd never been to Las Vegas before. And this would be an introduction to the audiences there of the Spinners. And they agreed. Tom Bell, who produced and wrote
Yes.
for the Spinners, along with Linda Creed. Dear friend of mine, has been for many, many years, and he happened to be at our closing night performance. And after the show, he came backstage. He says, "Okay, guys, what a way to end a nice tour." And I said, "Well, Tom, what you gonna do for us?" He said, "As a matter of fact, I got a surprise for you." I said, "Well, what is that?" He said, "We're going to go in the studio tomorrow." I said, "We are?" He said, "Yeah, I got a song for the way we should close your tour." And that song was Then Came You. We went into the studio the night after we closed at the Riviera,
Okay.
recorded that song, and nothing pleased me more than to be able to say, still, that Then Came You was my very first
Yes.
#1 national recording. First.
It's, I hesitate to say things are a perfect record, but that is a perfect record. And then when I think of another perfect record, which is why I'm so glad they called me here to talk about it and to talk with Miss Warwick, because you all might think you're the #1 fan of her, but no, I'm the #1. 1 through 10, probably. That's what friends are for. Okay, you know, #1 pop, Grammys, millions and millions, not just sold, but raised money for AIDS in the millions and millions and millions of dollars. Dionne Warwick did this before people were even really talking about AIDS at any type of volume. Former President Ronald Reagan named her. I have the title here, but it was Queen of Health and Services or some such.
Ambassador of Health of the United States.
But even with all that being said, all the accolades, all the money raised, the thing about the record is that it's a beautiful record. It's like I need to know so many things about that moment, but when Gladys Knight comes in at the end,
Tell me about it. Girl.
I cannot. No, but listen. And then Stevie Wonder with the harmonica. Like, did you just get on the phone and say, "Hey, what are you guys doing? Can you guys just fall through the studio of an evening and
That's
record
exactly
one of
how
the?"
it happened. It is really. It is. I called Gladys first.
Called Gladys first.
And yeah, well, my sister. And I said, "Gee, what are you doing tomorrow?" And she said, "Nothing." I said, "I guess you are."
Wait a minute. She said, "Not with you."
No, she
Oh.
said, I asked her what she was doing tomorrow, and she said, "Nothing." I said, "Yes, you are." She said, "Well, what am I doing?" I said, "You're recording tomorrow." She said, "Okay." And I picked up my phone and I called Steveland. And when I call him Steveland, his actual name, he knows he's got to answer.
Steveland. Steveland is his name. Yes.
And I said, "Steveland." He said, "Oh, what did I do?" No, I'm recording tomorrow a song that is going to benefit all of us. So why don't you come on in and sing with me? I said, okay. He was in New Jersey at the time, visiting his children. And he got on a plane and came back to L.A. where we recorded. I ran into Elton, ironically.
Just running into folks.
I do.
Just running into folks.
And it's a funny thing is that whenever I run into those that I end up recording with, it happens to be in grocery stores. Right in the supermarket, that's where I ran into Elton. He was planning a birthday party for his manager.
Okay.
And I asked him, what was he doing tomorrow? And he said, well, I have this birthday party, darling. And I said, oh, can you break away for an hour? He says, for you, of course. And he did.
Oh.
And that's how the quartet became what it was. Everybody showed up, heard the song for the first time, sang it, and we filmed it. What was so beautiful about recording this song is the fact that, first of all, they learned it on set. Everyone who was involved with it, Burt Bacharach, Carol Bear Singer Bacharach, the videographer, the studio, the engineer, the tapes, everything about that song was donated. We didn't pay one dime for anything that was occurring at that time. And it just so happened that Elizabeth Taylor was sitting in the control room with Burt and Carol. They were friends of hers. And when we came in to hear the playback, she asked, she just straight up said, I am starting my foundation, AMFAR. Would you think that you could donate that song as the catalyst for the AIDS situation? And because each of us in that studio had lost someone or many bodies, and I know within my industry, we were losing people like crazy, light men, sound men, dancers, hairdressers, makeup people, just too many people. And we all looked at each other and said, sure, if it means nothing more than our talent to bring some kind of recognition to what is going on, yes, we will do that, and we did. And as a result, I'm going to tell you this too, a result of that, after the song came out and it was a great success, and as thrilling as it was, and raising all the money that it still is raising, Clive Davis, Arista Records, he looked at me, he said, you know, Dionne, you just gave away the biggest record you'll ever have in your lifetime.
That's okay, though.
And I had to answer him. I retorted. I said, you know what? It all comes back to me.
It does.
And it did.
Ladies and gentlemen, it does. And it came back to you. Also, you bring up Clive Davis. And was it around that time, too, where, I mean, you started working with Mr. Davis on songs like Deja Vu. Mm-hmm. These songs were huge records. Like, they just, what has kept you, I guess it's a basic question, but maybe it's not. We all talk about self-care, right? And I must ask, because you're giving us so much glamour and so much strength and so much amazingness. We talk about self-care. How does Dionne Warwick take care of Dionne Warwick?
Well, I didn't do such a good job recently. Yeah, I don't do anything special, nothing. You know, I'm too lazy to exercise, so I don't do that. And, you know, my son, my eldest son, David, keeps jumping on me about eating this French fries. And
Not
I
French
happen
fries.
to love McDonald's, yes.
Not McDonald's French fries.
No.
Is that McDonald's over there? You heard it here first.
I also eat
You heard
Burger
it here
King too,
first.
so. So as not to offend anyone in here. And of course, my favorite is Popeye. Miss Popeye, spicy Popeye chicken. Yeah. So I do not eat what is considered healthy. I just eat what I tell my son too. I say, darling, I do appreciate you caring about mommy, and I know you want her to eat this green stuff that you keep. I said, however, like I tell all my friends who are exercising and going crazy with what they putting in their mouth, my mother put this food in my mouth, and that's what I keep putting in my mouth. Okay?
Okay.
I am not ashamed to say I eat fried chicken. Yes, I do.
Who's ashamed? I'm not ashamed.
But everything my mother fed me, I feel it was okay to eat at that point in time. It's still okay to eat it.
I hear that. But I also remember I saw you live, because I'm always going to see you live. I saw you live, I think it was 2017 at B.B. King's in New York City. It was a night. It was a night. And you talked a lot that night about Brazil.
Yes.
And when you were up there talking about Brazil, I said to myself, I got to move to Brazil, because the way you spoke about it, it just made me think you were so at peace when you were in Brazil.
Certainly. And I was, and still am. I lived in Brazil, literally, I got married about almost 30 years.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I discovered Brazil in the early 60s. And I was doing concerts there. And as a result of that, every other year I would go back to do more concerts, and I would discover more parts of Brazil. In fact, some of my friends down there told me I knew more about Brazil than they did. But it got to the point where I was given what I felt to be the biggest hug I've ever had by the people there, the country. It just became where I needed to be, and they claimed me. They just told me, you are karaoke. Don't worry about that, that's what you are. I said, oh, okay, I'll be a karaoke. Doesn't bother me at all.
So you love it there, it just makes you feel good being there.
It was so wonderful. I found there what we started missing here in the States. I would walk down the street and you'd see our elderly holding hands and smiling at each other. They revere their children. Every Saturday was a holiday for them, basically. You could not get near them all. The entire family would shop together. The mother, the father, the grandparents, and the kids. It was just a love fest for me that I felt. Wow. And when I'm there, I still feel that. It's just a place to, if you've never been there, do yourselves a favor. Truly, the next time you think of a vacation, do think Brazil. You will, I'm not going to tell you what you will. You will.
I feel like it's just not enough time. Like, what is the time situation? Okay, we got enough time. I feel like a lot of people don't know that you're related to, I believe on your mother's side, to the great Leontine Price, the great opera diva.
Leontine Price?
Leontine Price.
Yes.
I think that people always hear that you are related to Whitney Houston.
Yes.
God bless. We can clap. We can definitely clap. So obviously you're related to Cissy Houston, Whitney Houston's mom, of course, the great Cissy Houston, who has contributed so much over the years by background singing and by, of course, training Whitney Houston. But that line, that Drinkard family line, you said you were part of the Drinkard sisters, the Drinkard singers. What's in the blood? Like what? I really, y'all don't know, I've been waiting to ask her this since I don't even know when. What is in the Drinkard family bloodline? Like, what is in the DNA that you have Leontine Price, who became the most famous, black opera singer of her era, and even right now, really? Cissy Houston. Whitney Houston, Dionne Warwick, like, what's in it? I need to know, are y'all aliens? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
We may be.
I'm saying.
No, you know, and this is a question I've been asked several times.
Okay,
what is it about your family? And I'll tell you what it is.
I'm not going to do it, Ricky. I'm not going to do it with you, Ms. Warwick. I will not.
You know, there are certain things that my God, I don't know about yours, but I know about mine, has done for me and with me. You know, people see me backstage, and my crew will keep them away from me for a minute before they go out to do what they do, because I pray, and I ask him just to go with me. And it's not me out there singing, because I've asked him to sing for me. That's his singing. So I guess he just decided, he pointed his finger and said, okay, y'all, you the ones.
Not okay, y'all. Not okay. You're really making me cry. I'm not going to do this with you, Mr. Warwick. I'm really not. It is such just an honor and a pleasure for all of us really to sit in your presence. I wish we could sit here all day with you, but time, it does begin to run short. I just wonder, like, so what are we doing now? Like, are we singing? And I'm including myself, like I'm a part of her.
There you are. All of you are, believe me.
Like, are we singing now? Are we going back out on tour? Like, are there festivals? Like, what are we doing?
Yes, I've just opened. I opened last night in a residency here in Vegas. And I will be here through May, I think around the 7th or 8th. Then I have some stateside stuff that I have to break away from Vegas to do. I committed to long before the residency. And then I leave for Europe for 2 months. I have a 2-month tour there. And then I'm going to come back to Vegas to finish the run here. So that's what's going on. I also have...
Isn't that a lot?
I also decided that my fragrance should make its appearance again. So Dionne will be again available. I also have an interior design company. So interior design.
Okay.
Yeah. You can look us up on your trusted computers.
She loves it today.
It is WG Design Lab.
WG Design Lab.
So take a look at what we do and call us on up and get us in your homes or your offices or wherever you want some new stuff done for you.
I have 2 more questions, and then I know they're going to say, Danielle, if you don't get off the stage. Is it hard for you to speak about Whitney Houston?
I don't speak about her.
Then I'm going to move right along. My last question was this one. You have to it's not even a question. You have to have a favorite Dionne Warwick song.
No, I don't.
No?
No, and that's another question I've been asked. What's your favorite song?
But it's... I really want to know.
Well, I'll tell you. It's an easy question to answer.
I really feel like, am I the right person for this job? Like, did they really call me right?
No, all of them. Every single one that I've ever recorded happens to be my favorite song. If it weren't for those particular songs, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to y'all.
Hey now. Hey now. So it's not Walk On By?
That's one of them.
It's not Do You Know the Way to San Jose?
That's another one of them.
Should I stop now?
You can. They're like my babies. I don't have a favorite
They
child.
are. You don't have favorites, right?
That's right.
And is there ever a time, now see I said it was my last question, but now I'm just, home week. Mm-hmm. Is there ever a time where you say to yourself, I just cannot believe that my life is my life? I mean, you've blessed us for so many years and continue to bless us with your genius, your joy, your brilliance, your glamour, your jokes, your tweets. Do you ever just ask yourself, like, how am I me? Like, and here's the thing, it could sound like a very strange question, but all of us are aspiring to be something. All of us make decisions every day, like, about moving forward in our lives and becoming the people that we want to be, the women that we want to be, the black women that we want to be, in a place that doesn't always celebrate us or uplift us or even try to understand us. And Dionne Warwick has become herself in a time, in the decades before a lot of us were even out of diapers. No shots,
Yeah,
it's
true.
beautiful.
True.
But my thought is, it's just like, there are daily decisions that we all make that contribute to who we are. So I just wonder, like, what?
You know, I fortunately and unfortunately, but I don't have time to think of that kind of thing. I am so busy doing what I'm doing that I don't, you know what I mean? So I just take it as we should in life, one step at a time.
Do you love it? Do you love it? Ladies and gentlemen, I see too. Ladies, I give you the great, the iconic Dionne Warwick.
Thank you. Thank you very much.